Thank you everyone so much for joining us for today's webinar. We're excited to have so many county officials and local leaders join us today as we take a deep dive into the Local Assistance Road Program, or LARP, which officially replaces the County Priority Projects Program as of the 2025 legislative session through House Bill 546. So today's session is designed to help you understand this transition, how it'll affect your county, the application process, and leave time for you to ask questions as well. We're really fortunate to have two experienced and knowledgeable speakers here with us today. First, Commissioner Bobby Jo Lewis. She joined the Transportation Cabinet after serving as the Anderson County Attorney. And joining her, we have Christy Ross, the Executive Advisor, who's played an integral role in shaping and implementing this transition. So we're very honored to have the two of them here with us today. And I'll just go over a few quick housekeeping notes before we dive in. Just so that you know, today's webinar is being recorded, and we will share a link to the recording with all the registrants after today's webinar, as well as the slides. Also, this session has been approved for 1 hour of training credit through DLG. And just as a reminder, they require that your camera be on to attain that credit. And we will have time for question and answer today. If you have questions throughout the webinar or towards the end, please feel free to put them in the chat and we'll make sure that those get answered. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Commissioner Lewis and we'll let you start the presentation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Sydney. Good morning, everybody, and I'm so glad that you could join us. I'm hoping to go over, as Sydney explained, the new LARP requirements for CPP funding. I've been using those terms interchangeably because they are the same thing, and I keep repeating that because I've had that question a lot. So good morning. I appreciate you all. Thank you for everything you do in your communities, and let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Hey, can everybody see my screen?
Yes,
Thumbs up?
all set.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we are going to be discussing today the CPP and LARP update, the transition from CPP to LARP. All right, our first slide. Many of you may have seen this slide before, but it's worth going over it again. These are the basics for CPP and LARP. The funding for FY26 is $20 million, plus any carryover. And at this point in time, we don't know if there will be carryover for this application cycle. But if there's any carryover, if there's underruns or anything like that, that'll be added back into the pot. The application cycle began June the 1st. We have received some applications. We are still receiving them. And the application cycle will end October 1st. So keep that in mind. Put it on your calendar. October 1st is the deadline. We have an updated application form, which is a TC 2041. It's available on the KYTC and the DRMA website. And that's Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the Rural and Municipal Aid website. You can find it in 2 places. Once your email is completed, you should send that to me and to Christy, who I'll be turning it over to in just a minute to give you some live demonstrations. The qualified applications, and when I say qualified applications, we send projects that are ranked 8, 9, and 10, and we'll talk some more about that in just a few minutes, to the legislature. We have to send that over by November 1st, and then the legislature determines which projects to fund during the 2026 legislative session. Now, here's some helpful application hints for you. I mentioned we have a new form. So you use form TC 2041. To find that form, you go to KYTC Forms, select TC 20, Rural and Municipal Aid, and then County Priority Projects Program, TC 2041. Pardon me. This is an Excel document, so please complete and submit the application in Excel format. That's going to help us as we track these projects and as we send them out to the evaluators in your district to evaluate the project. Something else that's very important is don't forget your beginning and ending mile points of your project and your photos. These beginning and ending mile points are very important. If you want the beginning, if you're going to do the whole road, your beginning mile point is going to be 0.00. And Christy's going to show you that in just a minute. And then the ending mile point, if you're doing the whole road, will be it'll show up on the map. But if you're doing a partial project, we need to know where those mile points are in order to draft the MOA to make sure that, all the bases are covered. And then the photos. And we're going to talk some more about photos in just a minute as well. Once completed, I put our emails on there again, just so you'll have them. Now, remember in HJR 46 from this past legislative session, all the roads that were chosen by the legislature to fund were ranked 10s. That means that they are the worst roads in the worst condition. And I'm going to show you some pictures here in a minute too, just so you have a good idea of what we're talking about. So please choose your worst roads for consideration. Okay, application elements. The application needs to be completed fully. Again, the length of project in miles, not feet, okay, because we get a lot of those. So it needs to be in miles, and the beginning and ending mile points are very important. You can find those on the local maps website, which we're going to describe here shortly. And then photos must be submitted for every 300 feet of each project. That's about 17 photos per mile. And I'll have another slide on that in just a minute to tell you or to provide some assistance in how to upload these photos. We've been getting a lot of questions about that. Each project in House Bill 546, which is the Local Assistance Road Program, or LARP, as it's commonly referred to, each project must be no more than $500,000. Now that's each project. You may apply for more than one project. Okay, so it's just $500,000 per project. A local match is required this year. We're going to have a slide that shows you your local matches. You're going to find out when Christy does the application live demonstration that our new application will figure all of this for you. So you don't have to worry about the math. It'll actually calculate it for you. The projects under the LARP bill are required to be what they called rehabilitation projects. So they're designed to restore the original condition of the road. No other improvements or increased capacity. So keep that in mind as you choose your projects. Now, how do you send photos? The biggest question of the day, I'm sure. You can email them along with your application. If that does not work, because as I said, 17 photos per mile, and some people have some lengthy roads, and if you submit, 4 or 5 roads and they're lengthy, that can accumulate to a lot of photographs. So if you have a large number of photos, please email christy.ross@ky.gov and request access to our OneDrive sharing. Our IT department has set this up for you to be able to seamlessly roll them over, okay? So it's OneDrive sharing. When you're granted access, you can then upload your photos into a named county folder that'll have your county name on it. And you go to that folder, and then we ask you to create a folder within that folder with each road, and then upload the pictures for that road in that folder. And it's been done, I think, once, maybe twice now, and it appears to be working very good. If you have any problems, of course, give us a ring. All right, this sheet or this slide shows you what the local match percentages are.
Ms. Lewis, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
This is Dwight Morgan.
Yes.
Back on your last page there on the photos.
Yes.
When you say a large number of photos, that's kind of subjective. So if we send it in as a zip folder, Is that okay, or do we need to send that to Chrissy Ross or?
Yes, when you send your application in, the photos need to accompany the application, number one.
Okay.
And if you can email them, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
You know, we're ready and able to handle that. However, some people have done Dropbox, if you're familiar with Dropbox, and that has worked well. But if you are experiencing any issues, this OneDrive sharing is working out pretty well too. So that just gives you another option. I mean, I know some people had about 200 photographs. So, you know, that's a large number. But yeah, if you can do it in a zip drive, we're perfectly fine with that as well.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Bobby Joe, I would also add that if you are emailing in your photos, that you name them. So with the road number, like, you know, Moore Road 1, Moore Road 2. Because if you're emailing them in, we need to know which project to associate and tag those photos to.
What Christy, I don't want to go too deep into this because we're just now starting this. Our IT department has created an app. And once you send in the application, we're taking the information and Christy's loading it into the app so that the district evaluators can look at this app on their phone. They'll be able to see your photos and they'll be able to see the application, and then they know where to go to evaluate. That's another reason your mile points are important, so they know which part of the road they're evaluating, if it's not the whole road. So once that they are put in, they're linked to that app. That's why we're asking you to send the application in Excel, and that's why we're asking that the photographs be labeled. If you do the OneDrive sharing, you're putting them in a folder under that road name. But if you send them in some other form, we need to make sure that they are labeled. Thank you, Christy, for bringing that up. Okay, so back to the local match. Many of you have probably heard me say that your co-op funds that you get 3 times a year, and just advance notice, the final make-whole payments for last year will be going out in about a week and a half, I think it is. A week and a half to 2 weeks, so keep an eye out for that. You can use these funds for your match in LARP. These amounts are based on county population rankings. And if you don't have to look right now at, memorize this, because we'll have these available, but all the counties are on here under the columns that represent your percentage of match. Okay, now how are the roads scored once you send them in? Well, the district, we send them out to the districts, and the evaluators in each district are going to go out and look at the roads. And here are the different criteria listed, like the raveling of the road, whether it's good, fair, or poor. The rutting, is it rutting, yes or no, and how deep? The longitudinal and transverse cracking, good, fair, or poor. Utility cuts, pattern block cracking, both good, fair, and poor. And then the number of potholes and the density of potholes, the base failures and the density of the base failures. Then if there's pavement drop off, then what the average daily traffic is, and whether there's been recent improvements made to the road. So they'll be looking at all of those and evaluating that. And I'm sure you're like, well, what is all that stuff, right? I mean, some of you are probably very versed in it, but here are some photos of raveling. The first picture is raveling, and that's a poor condition. So that would be the worst condition. And then you've got rutting, which is a picture of a road that would be ranked poor. The longitudinal cracking, that is poor. Utility cuts that are poor, and then the pattern cracking, poor. And then there's a picture of potholes in the road, and you can see where they're different depths. And then base failures is the last photo. So these are all roads that exhibit the characteristics that the evaluators are going to be looking at. once they, once they do, the scoring on, we have a new evaluation sheet that we're using right now until the app goes live, which we anticipate in the next 2 weeks. Once they go live, that information, once the evaluator inputs it, it'll be transmitted directly to us so that we can keep track of the scores. Okay, any questions about that?
I see Laura Lewis has her hand raised, Bobby Joe.
Oh, yes. Hi, Laura. Okay. All right. So here, this screen is just our contact information, emails, cell phone numbers, office numbers. So you can get a hold of us in case you have any questions. And that's all I have at this point. I'm gonna, if there are no questions at this point, then I will turn it over to Christy. Any questions?
Commissioner, this is Mike Williams. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The inspection by the district engineers and the photographs seem to be redundant. Are they going to be used for two different purposes?
This is my understanding, that when I testified over, at the BR Subcommittee on Transportation, I'm hearing an echo. Are you all hearing that, or is it just me? Okay. I think it's, okay, I think it's sounding better now. So the legislators asked me, would they be able to see these photographs? And that answer is yes, with the OneDrive sharing. That's why we're doing the OneDrive sharing, is so that the legislators will be able to access the photographs. So if you send them in a zip drive, as Mr. Morgan asked a few minutes ago, we'll be transferring them to the OneDrive sharing so that the legislature's able to see them. So that is one difference. As I understand from listening to the evaluators, the photographs are good, but nothing takes the place of a personal eye-to-eye view. And so they'll be looking at it personally. You can't, on the photos that I was showing you, you can tell there's a depth difference in the potholes, but you can't tell what it is, if it's more than a 1/4 inch or more than a 1/2 inch. So they'll still be looking at them personally. So I do think that the evaluation by the district personnel is very informative and very necessary. Does that answer your question?
So I assume that means the legislature wants the photographs and the cabinet wants the in-person inspection.
Well, I mean, I think it's fair to say that we all want both. I mean, I know as far as the cabinet goes, we normally just ask for a couple of pictures, okay? And the reason we would ask for pictures is to make sure that we have the right section of road and that the right section of the road is actually completed when the bills are sent in. You see, because whenever you send a request for payment, you always send a photograph. So we know that it's, the right section of road and, what was supposed to be done is done. So for those purposes, we would want the photographs too. Now, we've never asked for a photograph every 300 feet. That was a legislative requirement. So as far as why they wanted it every 300 feet, I don't know. You'd have to ask them that.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I see Mr. Sims has a question.
Hello, Bobby Joe.
Hi.
I wanted to thank you for your time today. One question I had was on the 300-foot requirement, does that require the mile point measurement as well, or we just need the starting point and the ending point of the road for consideration?
Okay, the mile points for your project, the beginning and ending mile point,
Yeah.
That's for the distance of your project. Okay?
Correct.
So the 300 feet photographs, the legislature just asked for a photograph every 300 feet.
Okay.
It didn't
So
say
we
we
don't
had
have
to
to
tie
have a,
that.
okay, we don't have to have a corresponding mile point to that 300-foot district.
No,
Dis-
sir.
Okay, great. And then the other thing that there's a lot of discussion going on amongst the magistrate group, and I'm sure the judges is, and this is just kind of what the egg that's been laid apparently for us is with the federal cuts that are coming, and the newness of this program, and then the Medicaid phase-ins over the next 3 years. What strategy do you think we should employ in evaluation going forward with all the unknowns that we have for what the possible implications to state funding could be from the federal level? Do you have
Well,
any insight on what's being discussed, or what you would recommend us do as county officials?
well, as it relates to this program, I would certainly make use of, you notice I pointed out you can use your co-op funds that you have allocated to pave. You can
Mhm.
use that as your matching funds. So in order to make the best use of my funds, I would certainly I'm speaking in generalities here because each of
Sure.
you have different amounts and all that, as you know. So I would just make sure that I'm making optimum use of my co-op funds in order to apply to get the most out of this program. I think that would be really a good thing to keep an eye out for. And then as far as, what's going to happen with the federal government, I really would be remiss if I tried to even determine what that
Speculate.
is at this point. But I do know that there's been some discussion, of additional funding. And what form that might take, I don't know. That would come from the state legislators. They've asked us for information, which we've passed over. So I would recommend that you talk to your legislators and just give them, a view of what's going on in your particular county and the needs in your county,
Okay.
so that we perhaps they will provide more funds so that we can help you more.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem, sir. Hi, Judge King. I see you got your hand up.
Hello, Bobby Joe. Thanks for being
Hi.
on here and answering some questions. Just maybe a silly question, but to make sure that we're providing what the General Assembly wants here.
Yes,
On
sir.
that picture requirement every 300 feet, do we get to choose the worst portion of road within the 300 feet and submit that picture? Or is it truly measure out 300 feet and then take that picture of that exact part of the road?
What I would suggest, Judge, if I were doing this, I would start at the beginning of my project. And if it's 0.00 mile point, I would start there and I would take a picture out, and I would walk 300 feet and I would take another picture
Okay.
and try to get the road in there.
Okay.
That's how I would employ that, because House Bill 546 is very literal in what it says about a photo every 300 feet.
Good. We will make sure and start it where 300 feet or 600 or 900 ends up in some pretty bad places. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Mr. Norman.
Bobby Joe, when we apply for reimbursement, do we still have to do the every 300 feet, or just do two
No.
pictures like we have in the past?
No, there is no requirement in House Bill 546 that requires you to send in every 300 feet when you ask for reimbursement. Now, if I were you, I think you can just do that as you normally have. Okay.
Okay.
You
Thank
always attach photos with your TC 2038, so just as normal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Judge Sims. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Mr. Sims, did you have another question? I don't think so. Okay. So as Sydney told you in the beginning, Christy Ross has joined us last fall, And she kind of came in under the gun last fall with all of these CPP applications coming in. So I appreciate her help so very much. She's been an invaluable part of what's been going on with CPP and LARP. So she's going to give you some live demonstrations. So take it away, Christy. Oh, I have to stop sharing. Let me do that real quick. There you go. You're on mute, Christy.
Is everyone seeing the Department for Rural and Municipal Aid's website?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, hold on a second. Share. It helps if you click that little button. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay.
You're
you go.
there.
All right. So if you go to our website and you scroll to the bottom of the page, you will see a link to take you to our local roads. And you just click the link and up pops the map. And we wanted to do this live, so hopefully it's not going to take too long. Great. So I'm going to use an example from Anderson County because both Bobby Joe and I are from Anderson County. And I'm just going to put, you just can type in the address for the road that you want. And I'm going to choose Powell Taylor Road, and I'm choosing Anderson County. I'm not even using the name of the city. And it takes you right to this road, which if I zoom out, you can see connects between Highway 62 and Highway 44. So for the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm going to, look at this road. It is road, it's weirding out on me for a second. Hold on one second. It's it's County Road 1002. Another way to know this would be to click this little bubble here. Let me digress. Let's put on our base maps. That's why it's looking weird. So if you come down here and put down Kentucky, KYTC, Kentucky most recent imagery, it gives you all kinds of information. It's amazing, and it's the most up-to-date that's in the map. The next housekeeping item you want to do is you want to go to your map layers, and you go over here to your point references, slide down, and you want to click the local road mile points. This will pull up all of our mile points on our roads. And every time you log into this map, you have to do these things. It takes you, it does not save it. So as I said, with this is CR 1002. If you push this little location tool and you click the road, it's going to tell you that it's CR 1002. Now that we know the name, the number of the road, we can come over here to the left for our route lookup. We're going to choose our county, which is Anderson. And our prefix, CR is for county road, CS would be for a city street. So it was CR 1002. Now, it's going to tell us, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here so you can see it. The beginning mile point 00 starts on US 62 and it ends on Highway 44. So this road is 2.13 miles long. If you wanted to do the entire road on your application, your beginning mile point would be 00, your ending mile point would be 2135. But let's say we just want to do a portion of this road. So we're going to zero in here. And I'm going to start it. We're going to say we're starting at the intersection of 62. And we want to come up here and stop at this person's driveway. Well, you can look at this driveway. Oh, bear with me, guys. There we go. This is the 0.2 mile marker. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of small on my screen. It's between the 0.2 and the 0.3 mile marker, somewhere between 0.2 and 0.3 of a mile. Sometimes you get lucky and you can touch this and it will take you to the mile point marker, but it's not giving me that information. There was a time where we could do that, but it's not letting us. So I'm going to say that it's somewhere between 0.2 and 0.3. So I'm going to start with 0.25, which is right in the middle. I'm going to close that guy. And I'm going to zero back in here, which gets us almost to the edge of the driveway. It's pretty darn close. So I'm going to put in a 2 and see what happens. It's 0.252. Maybe
Christy,
there's a pothole here I'm trying to cover up.
is it
So
the
that's
case?
where I would say my ending mile point would be. So our beginning mile point is going to be 0.00. Our ending mile point is going to be 0.252. Now, the big question of the day is every project you need to know how many miles is your road project. It would be 0.252 percentage of a mile. So let's go back to our rural municipal aid website. Let's
Hey,
slide down
Christy.
on the right to our forms. And 2041
Christy,
is our
before
CPP.
before you leave the map, I think
Uh-huh.
Judge King had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go
Yes.
back.
Christy, is it still the case? I know it used to be that what you were doing there, kind of typing in, making a best guess on where that was. We used to be able to hit, if you're looking in that black tab at the very top, you've got that little
Yeah.
magnifying glass
Yeah.
there, and then maybe over one, yeah, on that one right there. I
Mhm.
think it was that one we used to be able to click on, and then you could
We
click
did. We
map.
did. And that's what I just showed. Sometimes you can click that and it will pull it up, but a lot of times it does not. And you have to kind of do your best guess,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go back down here to, I'm going to open the file. And then this is our Excel form for our application. So you would fill in the name, which would be Anderson County Fiscal Court, who's the contact person for the application, the mailing address, email address, phone number. If we have questions, it's very important that we have, we know the general address, the general phone numbers for the county, but sometimes it's really nice if you're the person filling it out and your number isn't necessarily your direct line. It would be nice to have that to just be able to make sure we reach the right person if we have a question on it. Your type of request, these are our choices: resurfacing, repatching, hazardous, emergency. As Bobby Joe mentioned earlier, it only can be to bring the road back to its initial form, state of form. So our county, if you click the box, there's a drop down arrow. You can choose your actual county, and the form will calculate what the match is. The other thing is do you have your photos? And this has to be clicked yes, or we're going to come back to you and say your application is incomplete. Please submit your photos. When you send the email in, like Bobby Joe said, you've got way too many photos, they're going to bounce on an email, or you're going to have to send 10 emails to get them all together. Just reach out to me and we'll set you up the OneDrive folder. Printed name, which would be your authorizing official, signature, and the date signed. The next thing we're going to do is our road number. So the name of our road was Powell Taylor Road. It was CR 1002. The length of our project was 0.25. And our estimated cost, if you look at that, I put in 0.25 and it rounded it to 0.3. That is because the legislature mandated that your project had to be rounded to the nearest tenth of a mile. So 2.5 rounded up to 0.3. And our cost, I'm going to say, is $25,000, because I don't really know. We're just making this up. The project description, this is really helpful, particularly if your project is awarded, to just give a general description of the project. So I'm going to say from the intersection of Highway 62 to house number, whatever that person's number was, I don't know. Our beginning mile point would be 0. Our ending mile point is going to be 0.25. The longitude and latitude is a form that's used by rural secondary roads. It got transferred over onto this form. I've had several questions about this. Don't worry about that. We don't necessarily need to have that on this application. We're going to be doing resurfacing, so you have to click the box and then you need to put an X in. It's unfortunately not a checkbox. If you were doing patching, you could also add patching. And then what's happened is, as we filled out this priority number 1 project, if you slide back up on the front page of your application, it's made our project estimate be $25,000, and it's calculated the mat, and this is the amount that would be awarded if the project were chosen, and you would have to be matching the $5,000. So if we were to go down and do a second project, I'm going to say it's $525,000. Oh no, we're not allowed to do anything over 500,000. It's going to tell you that's a problem. So let's say it's 100,000. Now let's slide back up to the front page. Now our project estimates have added together to be 125. Our match has been calculated and increased to 25. We'll be receiving 100,000 on the award if it's awarded. So that's pretty much in a nutshell how you fill out the 2041 form. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okie doke.
Hi, it's Mark Ranshaw. Thank you for having this Zoom meeting. On the matching grants, can that be goodwill, like for ditch work and stuff like that along the road or anything like that? Can that go towards the matching funds?
Mom Joe.
I was gonna say, you want me to take that? Hi, Magistrate Renshaw.
Hi.
The House Bill 546 does not say that. It requires that the local match be X amount, and it does not tell us that. So our position at this point is it has to be in funds. It doesn't say in kind. So
Okay.
if you want that clarified, I would talk to your legislator.
All right. And Bobby Joe, thank you for your help with that bridge. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Hope that all goes well. I
Yes,
knew you'd be excited.
Oh
I'm
yeah, that
telling
was
you.
it was an early birthday present.
Oh, good, good.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions? Has everybody on here already applied? No, I know the answer to that. I know y'all haven't, but I know you're getting ready to, right? Because you wouldn't be on this call if you weren't going to apply. Okay.
I see Mr. Gordon has his hand raised.
Yes, I missed the very beginning of the meeting. Is the picture every 300 feet, is that just for the CPPP funds, or is that any funds that you're applying for?
It is just for the CPP LARP, okay? If you missed the beginning, I always say this, LARP is the CPP program. They are one and the same. So the requirement of photographs every 300 feet is just for this program. I know you're asked to send in photographs for every other program in our department, but this one is the only one that's 300 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Did you see the part where we showed you what to do if you have a large number of photographs?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. All right. No other questions?
Well, as a reminder, we will send out a recording of the webinar today and the slides following the webinar. And of course, I know Commissioner Lewis and Christy are always there if you have any questions, and Keiko is as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out. But really appreciate everyone joining today. I know roads continue to be a top priority for local officials, so we really appreciate it. And again, thank you to Commissioner Lewis and Christy for taking time out of their busy schedule to come and do the demonstration and speak with us today. So thank you all again. And if there are any other questions, please feel free to reach out.
All right. Well, thank you all very
You
much.
guys.
We appreciate everything you do.
Bye.
Thank you.